welcome to Bitstorm, a comedy game design podcast by two guys who know nothing about comedy nor game design. I'm Ben Slinger, and with me, as always, is Trevor Scott.
Hello.
Hello, Trevor. This fine Tuesday evening.
Yes, or Monday evening, wherever you're listening, or whatever day it is.
Monday.
Hello.
If we get the edit done on time, it's Monday for you. I think we are going to jump into some click pitch, unless you have anything different there, Trevor.
Yeah, nah, I got nothing.
All right, Trevor, do you want to tell people what click pitch is?
Click pitch is a game where we each have a random word generator in front of us. On the count of 3, 2, 1, we're going to click refresh, take those words, throw them at each other, come up with some sort of game idea. Then, when it doesn't work, we throw it away.
I noticed you said when it doesn't work.
Yes.
Because it always inevitably fails at some point.
Yes. When we run out of steam, we throw it away and, get new words and throw them at each other.
Yeah.
Sometimes we include those words again, and that's, continuous click pitch. But I'm not sure whether we'll do that tonight.
We'll see. We'll see if any good ideas come out of this first one.
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click.
Bubbly.
Frame.
Bubbly frame. Okay. Bubbly, my mind actually went to champagne, because it's the sort of the...
Mm-hmm.
Is it an Australian term to call champagne bubbly?
Probably.
Break out the bubbly?
Break out the champagne.
The champagne. Frame. Is this like a frame job?
Yeah, I think that's the way that my mind was going, rather than a picture frame. I'm like, ooh, yeah, some sort of ruse.
Maybe it's New Year's Eve.
I was just thinking door-to-door salesman selling...
Like door frame?
No, selling dodgy champagne. It's just like...
Dodgy champagne. It's not from the region of Champagne.
No.
It's just sparkling cider.
It's just sparkling water. Or you go into your car and you just get your soda stream and press the button a few times.
Just got a soda stream. Oi. All right, so you're a door-to-door salesman selling champagne. It is New Year's Eve. It's your big time of year.
Yeah. Oh, you're going around to all the different parties trying to sell the cases of champagne before midnight. So you've got a time limit on how much you can sell. But
then there's a murder.
Yeah.
Maybe you get to one of the parties. So you get to one of the parties and does a murder happen while you're there, I guess?
Or they open the door and you hear a scream right behind them and you see someone actually running out the back door covered in blood.
Yeah, well, because I kind of like the idea that this almost becomes a bit of a detective Poirot or something.
Yeah.
Where, okay, now you're trying to solve this murder just as this random, that you're the one person in this house now that they know could not have done it because you're out. You just arrived just as it happened.
Yep.
And so
the person who answered the door.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And so it's up to you, they kind of tap you to go, all right, well, you need to solve this for us. But I kind of like the idea that because you're a champagne salesman, you get information out of people by applying them with drink.
Yep.
You have to get them the right amount of drunk.
It's so wrong. I think that's one of the things in your repertoire. It's not the only thing. It's that's your last resort sort of thing.
Yeah, well, and I think you maybe need to it's risky, right? Some people are talkative, are chatty drunks. Some people are sad drunks, and you're never going to get anything out of them. Some people are violent drunks; they're going to cause problems. You can't just get everyone drunk and get all the information you need. You have to learn things about the people in this house. And, yeah, like you said, that's one of the tools that you don't have.
So I'm wondering if, the person that runs out the back all covered in blood, whether they sneak back in later on. They sort of come down and they've almost you see a couple of people come down and they've just had a shower. So you think that it could be one of those people.
Right. So is this one of those things where you kind of have to like piece together the time frame or something?
Yeah.
And it could even be literally like you are, like you've got some visuals around, you know, this happened this time. Like when you discover a piece of information, it kind of fills in a bit of a puzzle piece in your timeline. And that's sort of a visual guide then to help you, you know, well, it couldn't have been this person because they were here or whatever.
Yeah. But I think if you find some evidence to contradict that, then you can actually, you know, mark a piece of timeline as
well, I love the idea
inaccurate.
that like it's a party, right? So everyone's snapping pictures on their phones and stuff. So part of your interrogations are convincing people to give you access to to give you their phones or send you their photos or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you can then line up people's testimonies with what was literally actually true, or at least shown in the photos and their timestamps and whatever. What I was thinking though is because like the photos are timestamped, but one of the big like twists could be like this doesn't line up. Like what's going on until you realize you talk to someone again and they've just traveled from somewhere and they haven't taken their phone off airplane mode, and so it's off by an hour or something.
Yeah. Or
like it hasn't changed to daylight savings for some reason because I don't have a SIM card. Like I just use it as a camera.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, and at that point you could almost have it all their photos in your timeline just like shift by an hour and suddenly things start making sense.
Okay, so I think what I was going to try and get at before was the fact that witness testimonies are like the most unreliable thing. So depending on, you know, what sort of stuff you bring to their attention, they all of a sudden may remember something else about what happened. So you can talk to like people numerous times, and the more evidence that you sort of get, you can get slightly differing versions of the truth.
Yeah.
So you can sort of choose which one.
Yes, I think you have to choose. But I think at any point you can change that, obviously. Yeah. But it's just you are sort of trying to create the one true timeline and lining up these photos with testimony to say, okay, well that's definitely true because, you know, here's the proof. And that you're basically trying to, just get that timeline in order. And I think, again, maybe do you think, like, the time limit of midnight, maybe there's something about something happens at midnight that's going to mean that you can't solve it or that they get away, or... I just feel like with New Year's Eve...
Yeah.
With it being New Year's Eve, there needs to be something happening at midnight.
But I think something happens in sort of, like, Act 2, in which they find out that, like, the champagne that you've actually brought in is, like, not quite real as well. So all of a sudden you got people that are angry at you, and you're having to sort of deal with that at the same time. Oh,
I see. So you've sort of shifting opinions of you by the party as a whole, that you're going to get different information out.
Yeah, I think what has actually happened is, you know, they asked for change, and when you opened your wallet, like, there was a police badge or something in there, because that's another one of your ruses that you sort of do. So
he's literally just a con man. Yeah, or you're a stripper on the side or something.
Yeah, I know. I reckon that could be a good way of explaining why you're trying to, you know, be involved in this thing, and that you're making a bit of extra cash on the. Yeah. That's why they've invited you inside to solve this mystery. Yeah. Not realizing that you were never actually a cop anyway. And now you're selling them like champagne that has literally been bubbled in like a soda stream.
It's got to still be alcoholic though, because you're serving it to them.
I think what you've done is you've gone and got white wine.
It's just like cheap wine. Cheap white wine that you put into a soda stream.
Jesus Christ.
All right. I love it. I think that could be really cool to just piece together that evening, and I love the idea of having to search through these like shitty blurry party snaps from phones, but having to like line them up. Yeah. With the testimony. And again, I'm sort of picturing, I like the idea of even having a pinboard of some sort, nicely decorated, as if you've just like pulled everything off someone's corkboard at the party to set up this investigation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, click.
All right. Yeah.
Ooh.
Inland. Or inland.
Sign. SINE.
Oh, okay.
It's an interesting one.
Some sort of oscillation.
Yeah.
Inland sign.
Ooh. I'm. For some reason, I've just got into my head that this time you're a scientist. And
a scientist?
No, a scientist looking at like the effects of the moon on like these inland lakes.
Okay.
And you're seeing like some crazy waves that are actually occurring because of like the
tidal
moon,
forces.
the tidal force is actually getting stronger.
Okay.
And I think you realize that like the moon is actually getting slightly closer and therefore, causing more issues. And I'm thinking it's sort of like an Armageddon sort of, almost like you got to send a team up to the moon to see what's actually happening.
Okay. So a little bit of Armageddon, a little bit of the dig.
Yeah.
I like the idea that instead of the moon getting closer, it's getting bigger. It's getting more mass.
Okay.
And thus more gravity.
Ooh. I know that this is stealing from Doctor Who, but I did kind of like this idea.
Mm.
In Doctor Who, there was a story where the moon was actually like a grand interstellar egg of like this giant creature, and it just took centuries, millennia
Earth's
to sort
moon?
of... Huh? Earth's moon, yeah.
Okay, it's convenient. Yeah.
But I kind of like the idea that it's sort of along those lines, but it's sort of
like some sort of living
creature.
Like it's coming. It's emerging.
It's finally like reaching the
like
final
a chrysalis.
The final end of its.
There's a metamorphosis happening.
Yeah, and we're talking a colossal creature. Like how big the fucking moon is, and it's like the moon is just literally just the shell of like an egg. And so that's why it's getting heavier and heavier, and therefore the tidal forces are getting...
Yeah, well, I like the idea that like at the end of the metamorphosis, like to gain the energy to break out, the creature inside the moon starts like pulling in stuff from space, basically. Like that's where the mass is coming from. Is it's feeding in some way.
Yeah, I think it's
converting the sun's energy into mass or something,
And it happens just after I'm thinking in this world, like there's been like one of those huge solar storms, and it sort of knocked all the power out on Earth for like 6 months or something like that. And when we turn finally get the power back up and running with this new system, that's when we actually, start noticing that there's some issues with like something's happened to the moon after this.
Right, okay. And that could be related because maybe it's that solar storm that kind of triggered the final stage. Again, because maybe it's like it feeds from the sun's energy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And then, so you play a scientist who was measuring lakes and has detected this. Maybe this scientist detected it before the power came out.
Yeah, I think so.
And no one else did because they're relying on their tools and stuff, but she's doing like manual measurements and stuff because she's sort of a lowly, or like a bit of an outcast a bit because of the way she works and that she's got this idea around.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it's even a scientist or whether it's like kind of like a park ranger sort of thing of...
Okay, yeah.
So therefore, knows how far the water normally goes up, and now it's actually the water is sort of going. The waves are getting further and further up the up
it's
towards
like
the trees.
The height of it's the height of the lake, and there's a usual pattern that comes and goes with certain phases, and it's like very little or something. But
yeah,
she's been measuring it, and it's been going up and down in this perfect sine wave over a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And she realizes that, like, it's like breathing.
Oh.
And it's something to do with she makes the connection that it's some sort of living creature.
But she thinks it's in the lake.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is where, she starts telling... Oh, because I'm sort of picturing this almost like a couple of different people that you're playing in this game.
Yeah, okay. That, like it could be like a Quantic Dream style.
Yeah. So you're sort of dealing with that, and she sort of comes up with this idea that there's this huge, like, Loch Ness monster sort of thing in this lake. So, she's getting people to come in and take photos and look for this elusive monster. And then you're playing as another scientist looking into, they've just turned the power back on.
Turn the power back on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I like that switching between her kind of discovering this initially and the conversations around that, switch back to the other guy before the power's on, and that's sort of where you get a bit of the exposition around there was this solar storm and, like, is the whole planet? The power's off?
Yeah.
I think it everything.
It fried everything. Yeah. The only thing that they can do to sort of get news around is basically newspapers, because they can use old printing presses and all that.
They had to dig out old printing presses and and this has been 6 months. Yeah, so that's an interesting point to come in at the end of 6 months of this chaos. They've finally sort of got things back on track and they're getting the power back on.
You got the, like, print media mogul who's now, the richest person in the world sort of thing.
Newspapers are back, baby.
Oh, shit.
Well, actually, that's interesting because he's, like, trying to sabotage bringing the power back on.
Because he's only the richest person in the world because, like, at last count, like, because everything went to digital in the banks and all this sort of stuff. But he'd already taken all his money out. And
right, at last count. Yeah, okay.
Because everyone else has all, assets in like Bitcoin and all this sort of stuff, and that's all gone.
Yeah. All right. I feel like if we're going true Quantic Dream style, we need one more character that you're playing as well.
What, you don't want to play as the media mogul?
Well, not as the media mogul, but maybe like their assistant or something.
Yep. Okay.
Like someone
like
in there. Yeah. Because the media mogul is obviously going to be a horrible person, like every billionaire. But playing someone a bit more sympathetic, who's sort of discovering things and is maybe whistleblowing a bit, or like feels some ethical dilemmas there because of what their boss is doing.
Me likey.
All right, I like that a lot. And so, what's the sort of next step or the next act? Like they discuss because you've got this park ranger, all excited about sea monster. You've got the engineer or something, like the aerospace engineer. Or what? No, what were we saying? That's anyway, someone working with the tech and getting the power back online, and they get that back online and see, like, hang on, these readings aren't correct. Like, they've got all their historical data there. Well, do they have their Well, they don't. That was all wiped out too. It's like, okay, well, we've lost all the historical data, but I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think when they turn it back on, like, it sort of returns back to where it actually was. It didn't destroy all the data. I think it's just that they haven't been able to get power sort of working in the traditional sense. Like, all the generators just sort of stopped working. Yeah. But
so the porn they had up on their windows like pops back up.
Yeah.
At an inopportune time. The power's back on. It's like that moment, like if you've had a power outage, the power goes back on and like it's the middle of the night, but all the lights are on and the TV and stuff. But it's the whole planet.
People just forgot that they had, like, stuff running in the background and, like...
Oh, yeah. There's actually, like, about 27 deaths just from that moment because, like, people just, were blinded because they've been without power for 6 months. Like, the lights come back on and just shocks them. They fall and hit their head or... they have power tools running at the moment.
The power comes back on, and you see this, like, rotting corpse in an elevator.
Oh, God. Yeah, I mean, probably. Jesus. All right, so we're kind of burying the lead a bit here in that there's a fucking space monster that's about to hatch. And we're focusing on everything that's happening in here. So they measure the moon. They're like, that's bigger. What's that about? And then shit goes down. I love the idea of seeing the hatching from Earth.
Ooh.
Like seeing that play out.
What I do want to actually... What I want to bring up is this is going to be a little bit out there, but just...
Okay. More so than the moon being an egg.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So, you know how in Jaws, how there's that character who comes in and says, I can kill it for you, but blah, blah, blah. Well, basically, you've got an alien bounty hunter who's disguised...
Okay.
Who turns up and is disguised as human. You think that he's human to start off with. And, he sort of fills almost the Bruce Willis role of, leading a team going up to, nuke the moon sort of thing. But he's got an ulterior motive.
Okay. Is this before it's hatched fully? Like...
Well, I think it's when they realize that they need to send someone up to the moon. This guy sort of comes forward and says, I can do this. I've got, all this knowledge of demolitions and stuff like that to be able to crack into the surface of the moon and work it all out. But is sort of like in Heavy Rain, spoiler, how one of the characters is actually, an incredibly bad guy. Mm-hmm. Turns out that you're playing this alien guy. You don't realize that he's an alien at the time, but he's actually looking at harnessing this alien.
Oh, he wants to capture it,
and basically use it as a planet killer sort of thing. So, so it's almost you're playing this bad, sort of guy. You're trying to help him along the way.
Is this instead of the assistant?
No, I think it's
it's a fourth character.
It's a fourth character.
All right, I guess we can just
you need the character
you can balance out
who goes up into space.
Yeah,
I just like the idea that it's a total mindfuck.
That's kind of cool. Are they trying to destroy Earth?
I think they don't give a shit about Earth. I think all they give a shit about is, they finally found this
so
celestial
is this like for
egg.
some interstellar war that's going on, and this is going to be their big weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah, and the Earth is just collateral damage. It just so
lasso
happens
it and ride it into the sunset back to his home planet. Yeehaw!
Right through Earth.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds very Quantic Dream with it going all fucking space fuck at the last second, so that works.
Yep.
If you go by, what was it, Indigo Prophecy?
Yeah, I never even finished that game. I've actually got it on my Steam library. I should really go play it.
Yeah, it goes all like Matrix weirdness.
Cool. Well, I like Matrix weirdness, so...
Yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. It's just weird.
I really enjoyed Heavy Rain. I played that all the way through.
I think, look, they're all good. Even
Detroit.
What is it? Beyond Two Souls.
You enjoyed Detroit Beyond Human, didn't you?
Detroit Beyond Human was really good. It's probably the best one so far.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Should check it out.
All right. You should.
3, 2, 1, click.
3, 2, 1, click. Lemonade.
Sack.
Sack?
S-A-C-K.
Lemonade sack. Okay. Or maybe it's like to be sacked to fire someone.
So it's a lemonade mogul who's doing all the hiring and firing of these kids who are running these lemonade stands.
Well, it could be a bit of like a satire kind of thing on organized crime, but it's all like kids and teenagers.
Okay,
in a neighborhood.
So it's like the game Mafia, where it's like an open world sort of game, except you're dealing with lemonade stands and shaking them down and.
I love the idea that you take it completely seriously, though. You don't, you're not playing it for laughs.
Oh, no. There's literally beatings and all this sort of stuff.
Well, no, I don't know that it's necessarily beatings as such, but, the equivalent for kids, like wet willies and
wedgies and
wedgies and stuff. And, yeah, it's kind of... You're basically playing, the big... bad asshole kid in this neighborhood. But yeah, it's this open world and you're riding your fucking big wheel around or whatever.
Well, rather than being, the big boss of this whole thing, I think you're just playing one other hitman sort of thing. Being sent out to shake down a few lemonade stands and that sort of stuff. Unless you play someone on the opposite side of it, someone who's trying to stand up for the other kids, and so it's still open world, but you're playing someone who's who's trying to defend them, and you have to thwart the organized crime syndicates, who are all 8 years old. Ooh, yes. Ooh. I'm sort of almost seeing remember the game Mercenaries? Where you had the different general sort of thing, all have a different card attached. So you got 52 kids in this organization. And
oh, yeah, okay.
I kind of like that idea of, they're using some sort of other card game, almost like a
like Uno or something.
Uno or something like that. It's the top people are
the draw four,
and then I can't, or even Old Maid or something like that. They're using some shitty
Old Maid's
game.
one, isn't that? I mean, I know you can get decks with that, but isn't that one that I think that can just be played with a regular deck?
Yeah, I think so. I know. I just kind of like that idea of then you sort of know how many, and you can track them on the sort of list, how many you've actually taken out with wet willies and that sort of stuff, and basically sent them home to their mum, sort of thing.
Yeah, I feel like Uno is the good one to go with.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So it's sort of, there's almost a bit of a South Parky vibe of they're all playing in the neighborhood and they have these big epic battles. So but yeah, it's this mafioso kind of style thing.
Yeah. Takes itself super, super seriously, though.
Yeah. And so, yeah, you're riding your, bike with training wheels around, trying to, and you come across the lemonade stand being shaken down, and you've got to come in and push them around and give them a wedgie and yell at them.
I mean, I kind of like the idea of having this, how all the Grand Theft Autos and that sort of stuff, they always go these big cities. I'm thinking it's like a small town that has a suburb sort of, almost like a rural bark or something like that.
Yeah, it's like an estate or something.
Yeah, it's got that many streets. You can almost get lost in this game, and then it's got sort of your paddocks and maybe a hilly area, and it's actually all part of one suburb.
Like a Grand Theft Auto, I think you could create a fairly decent sized space with
on a small scale.
You've got your your new estate where all the houses are the same and it's little cul-de-sacs and whatever. You've got the kind of older buildings and streets that are, a bit more run down or whatever, but then a bit more higgledy-piggledy. Yeah, you got your, like, blocks of land, you got your commercial district, like, as in the actual commercial district, not where all the kids have their stalls.
Yeah.
I
like the idea that that's
cool.
just like a small main street and it's got like 7 shops on it or something like that, but it's like that's the big part of town.
Yeah. And
like there's
it's a small town.
There's a milk bar, there's a like
it's like a pizza place.
There's a library.
So yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's cool. I like it. Here's a lot you could do that. It almost feels like a prequel to Bully or something as well.
Yeah.
Like yeah. All right.
Gets to the end and then you get taken to military school or whatever the hell happened in that game.
Sounds like a good one for Rockstar anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
Attitude.
Ornithologist.
Jeez, we've had that before.
Have we? Study birds?
Yes. Episode with Pete Corelli. Back in
Was that
episode 9.
Did we get that word though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, if it's been nearly 150 episodes since we got it, it's fine.
Yeah.
And it wasn't an ornithologist with attitude.
No.
Although you could use attitude in like the flying sense.
Ooh.
Isn't it like?
No, that's altitude, isn't it?
No. There is altitude, but no, attitude is the orientation.
Oh.
Yeah. So maybe this ornithologist is like studying something about the way that a certain bird flies. Or maybe it's about an ornithologist who's trying to build a wingsuit.
So, I'm thinking, you know how Pokemon Go is like awesome for people walking around and all this sort of stuff?
Yep.
Well, there's a new version of it in which you're looking for, basically it's a bird watching sort of thing. But you actually go out and the idea is that you actually take photos of birds.
Okay.
And post it up as, look, I found this bird here. And basically by you posting a photo, it means that other people can also maybe come and see that bird. Like it posted up on, sort of like it's a mobile game, but it's crowdfunded. Well,
like crowdsourced.
Crowdsourced
information. All right. What's the game? Is the game you battled on that?
you throw
you take a photo of the bird and then you have to take another photo of the bird after you've pummeled it to death.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I think
the attitude comes from you shouldn't have really gone and taken a photo of that nesting magpie. I like my ornithologist building a wingsuit, and I think this is like and I know we've sort of done a few like this before, but this is a like superhero parody. Mm-hmm.
In that the game itself knows it's a parody. It's not just a weird idea. It's a superhero comedy game, and you play this person who's trying to be a superhero with this wingsuit that he's built.
Okay.
And he's bird obsessed. I mean, I don't know how effective the wingsuit is. Maybe as you upgrade across I like the idea that when you start the game, you can pull out your wings and you just drop though. Like, it doesn't work.
Basically, this is the game version of that Moomba parade, or that Moomba, Birdman
the Birdman,
thing.
Birdman contest, but I think maybe you meet someone who's more of an engineer or something, like you actually do become sort of a true superhero of sorts, but it's sort of a bumbling version.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea that it's hinted at that maybe this person helped out a little bit with a certain person who dresses like a bat in his gliding. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. It's like
Lucius Fox or whatever his name was.
Yeah, they just call him LF. And he makes a mention of Gotham. He lets that slip, but this is in a different city. He's like moved on somewhere else.
Yeah.
There's just a bit of history there.
I
sure.
like that. I like the idea that it's sort of like they're not saying the names by name because they know that they can't actually say it, but you know what I mean. Like it's a blind animal, and this guy dresses up as it.
Yeah, one of those cave spiders. Slug. I don't know. But I like the idea that, so right, like from the beginning, you're like, you've got this wingsuit, and maybe it can stop you from dying if you flap hard enough, right? So like you're falling, you just have to like hammer on the controller.
You got to physically do it because it's in VR.
Oh god. Yeah, fucking arms will get tired. Yeah, I guess you could use it as like
a joke. Boy, are my arms tired.
I just
flew from up there.
Gotham.
Boy, my arms
Boy,
tired.
are my arms tired. There must be VR games out there by now where you just get to like hold your arms out to the side like a bird and just fly.
Yeah, 100%. Like there's got to be like a gliding game in which you got to hold your arms out and you can,
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's got to be.
That'd be awesome.
But this is full on. This is full on adventuring in an open world, kind of flying around the city. Once you get your tech. Yeah, I don't know. I like it. I'm not sure there's anything else to do there, but it'll be fun.
3, 2, 1, click.
Stitching.
Tradition.
Stitching tradition.
Wonder what sort of stitching this is.
Yeah, what are they stitching? Is it fabric? Is it skin?
What keeps on going through my head is the saying, "A stitch in time saves 9."
Well, I mean, this could be a follow-on from our time wizard with the scissors, but this is like a time wizard who stitches the time back together.
Yep. I do like the idea of this is like in a different part of the world. Like this is in this particular, I think maybe in this particular village, this time wizard just stitches pieces of time together and fixes people's.
Oh, well, maybe it's like a healer who they
fix heartbreak by accelerating time for this person.
Well, no, I was thinking they like extend people's life. Like they somehow get the scraps of time from somewhere and like stitch them onto people's life, strings, time strings. Mm-hmm. They like collect them somehow.
Okay, so this is more in the future from the previous one, because I think they've realized that stitching works better than just tying knots.
Well, or it's just somewhere in a different part of the world where they've figured this out.
Yep.
Like the other time, wizards never figured that out. They were just like, stitching things, like tying things together in knots.
Mm-hmm.
Either that, or this is set like 1,000 years after the apocalypse caused by the previous time wizard.
And this is like their descendant, and it's like the traditions that's being sort of passed down through time was.
Well, yeah, and I'm sort of picturing like a Horizon Zero Dawn style thing where like this is civilization after it's risen back, but there are aspects of technology around and stuff, and they've like now this ability to. It could even be that the ability to at least like see the time strings is. Maybe this apocalypse caused everyone to be able to see it. Like, to be able to, like, it's just part of life, is you've got your life stream, your time stream.
Yeah. And so you always got to be careful for people who are trying to exploit and steal time strings.
Yeah, well, that's it.
There's a market for
it. There is a market for it. It becomes a commodity because it's like, here, have a bit of my life. Because what did we say? Like that it's almost like a timeline tape where you can kind of scrub over your past, but then the future is sort of blank tape or something.
Yeah.
So that could be interesting. So blank tape can just be used to extend your life.
Yeah.
So that there's definitely a market for blank tape. I wonder what you can do with tape that's been recorded on. Is that a way to like sell memories? Like sell...
Ooh, and there's like a black market for the whole thing.
If you splice that into your own tape, you now have that memory as if it happened to you, including like any skills it might give you, right? Because you're literally changing your past by putting someone else's section of the past in there.
Yeah, I'm kind of seeing this as your character is sort of like they almost work for like a mafioso sort of character. In that, they get sent someone who did a crime, and now you've got to basically implant new memories to basically get them to be able to get away with whatever crime this is.
You're like a splicer. Like that's your job. You have to like stealthily sneak in and alter someone, like literally alter their past by altering their their timeline.
Yeah.
By like cutting bits out of it and or like splicing bits into it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And you don't get told where this tape comes from.
Oh,
you just get given.
Yeah. It's like replace the memory of the crime with this.
Yeah. This person needs to stay out of trouble, and then we need you to take this piece of tape and splice it into this person.
Yeah.
And they will go away for the crime. I kind of like the idea that you start out a bad guy sort of thing, and then you realize just how bad like the things that you're doing actually.
Yeah, there's some sort of revelation.
Yeah,
and then perhaps you like switch sides, or at least trying to fight back.
Yeah.
So I want to, and we may not be able to get into this because time is always a bit weird to mess with it, but. Let's say I took your time tape, cut out the part where you married your wife, and spliced it into mine. Now, do I now just remember marrying your wife, or have we now altered the global timeline and I am now married to your wife?
I think it's just your personal memory.
Okay, so it's more of a memory thing, and maybe because I do like the idea that if you spliced out every time someone went to the gym and spliced it into your own, I like the idea that okay, now you're super buff.
Yeah, that your muscles kind of remember that.
Yeah, like there's some sort of it only affects you personally. Because it is this like personal timeline, but anything that would have an effect on you it affects you.
Ooh, I'm kind of liking your character is somewhat sleazy at the start, and that as they're going through these people, they sort of see pieces of timeline where some sexy time was going down, so they sort of take little snippets out of that.
Yeah,
just for their personal collection.
Their
sort of
spank bank.
But. I kind of like the idea of this character sort of getting extra money for these sort of things and realizing later on down the track that maybe it wasn't the best idea to do this.
Yeah, I think that's your arc, your general arc of your main character.
Yeah,
and then maybe they start splicing for good against bad guys. Oh, so I had a thought of like you're trying to get back. You're getting back at someone. It's like a snitch or it's like someone who didn't talk, and so you alter their timeline and you just splice in a bunch of a bunch of memories from other people who have been stabbed in different places all over their body. But what ends up happening is just in the current time, this person just gets these horrific scars everywhere from you just pull all these different knife attacks and put them into this one person, and they're just all completely scarred up. Because now they've all happened to this person.
Yeah.
Just this horrific kind of torturous thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if one day you sort of wake up and you no longer have these, you notice everything that you were doing before your character now realizes was actually wrong. And then when you realize that someone's actually come in and spliced something out of you.
Yes. Yeah, I like that. Like you've somehow gained compassion.
Yeah.
And you track it down and you realize that someone came and like spliced out your entire traumatic childhood.
or it's more the fact that there was some bad shit spliced into your past.
Oh, previously.
And it's almost as if you've been dream splicing and taking some of this shit out because
of your own.
Yeah,
I'm doing it to yourself.
Sort of like almost like your ancestors' sort of knowledge of how this whole thing works. Subconsciously has actually been saying there's something wrong inside your timeline. So it's been
maybe
sort of
that feels a little bit convoluted. I feel like maybe there's a thing around like it's totally taboo and dangerous to splice your own timeline, or even like scan it or look at it, right? Because it can cause memory loops or something and cascading whatever. But, like, yeah, you wake up one day and your whole perspective's changed. And you're like, what the fuck? And you risk it. And that's when you go back and you notice some cuts in there.
Some scarring to the tape.
Yeah, to the tape.
It's not as neat as what your stitches usually are.
Yeah, it looks really amateurish. And then you find out that, yeah, it's just like...
You see a single knot and you sort of realise that...
It's this vigilante splicer who was trying to do good, and what they've done is, stripped out some stuff that was actually spliced into your tape, into your timeline earlier to make you into this like
disgusting human being
killer. And maybe it's someone maybe it's like your sister or something, like someone you're related to. You were pulled away from the family, and they spliced this into you to make you an asset.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that world.
Yeah,
the timeline, I don't know what to call it, the world, but also I just had a thought. I love the idea that you have to use like a pen to wind it back up after you pull it out.
But I'm picturing this pen looks more like, a big ass knitting needle sort of thing, so you can...
Oh, it's a special type, yeah. Alright, so you're going back.
Yeah. Fight.
Clowning. Okay. Well, I mean, my mind went straight to, like, a one-on-one fighter.
Yep.
But you're clown, like different sorts of clowns.
Yep.
Clown attacks.
Okay. So, I kind of like the idea of it being a one-on-one arena battle. In 3D, but it's a third-person sort of...
right, so like a Power Stone kind of view?
No. I'm thinking more like a Tomb Raider sort of view.
Oh, okay.
One-on-one, it's sort of like a For Honor sort of game, even, but with clowns.
With clowns.
Yep. So it may not even be one-on-one, but it may be, small teams versus small teams, basically.
It's clown battle royale.
Yeah, but... I'm not thinking 100 people. I'm thinking, more about the 5-on-5 sort of things.
I don't know. I kind of love the idea. I kind of love the idea of this clown car driving across the landscape, and just 100 clowns come out of it at different points when they choose. Or like a clown plane, it's just this tiny little plane flying over and just
okay, yep. Yeah,
constantly.
You're solving. It's this tiny like mini car that's got wings on it that's flying above, kind of like the PUBG, the Fortnite flying bus. Yeah. But it's all clowns jumping out.
It's just clowns jumping, like the door just opens and another clown comes out, and another clown, and another clown. Yeah.
Okay, so big floppy feet. you've got like the flower that squirts. I'm thinking
I think
acid.
that's like your main. I think that's your main weapon, or at least your starting weapon.
Your starting weapon. Well, it's one of the ones.
I guess how
find.
classic
like
Battle Royale from that point are we going?
The seltzer bottle. You can find the big floppy shoes to make you more.
You can find the
clown-like.
handkerchief that you can like strangle people with.
Yep. You can find the cream pie that that has like an anvil in it because it, and you throw it and like knock someone out.
Oh yeah, it's just like full of. It's got a wrench in there. Well, here's the thing though. Like, are we going? I love the idea of Clown Battle Royale. Is it literally like a violent to the death thing, or is there some other way that you are having to then come out on top of these other clowns? Because rather than just turning clown stuff into violence, and I mean, look, clowns are slapstick. I'm not completely against the idea. I'm just sort of, is there some other way we can go for clowns fighting each other?
Okay. When you get taken out, you join that person's side.
Okay.
So start.
It's less. Okay.
It's all about, you start off with 25 aside or whatever, and if 3 on the red team get killed, they go over to the blue team, and now you got 28 versus 22, sort of thing. So that everyone's still involved in the game all the way through.
Mm-hmm. And so, is your goal to be the last one on a team?
I think your goal is to have the most conversions.
Right, of course. Okay, so you're trying to end up on the team
with the most conversions. So,
well, but what if you're on like red team who's got 10 people left, and there's blue team who's got 60? Don't you want to get hit then? Because then you'll end up on the team that has the most?
No, because if you can convert more people from... If you're, say, on the red team, and you convert more people over to your team...
so you personally want to have the most conversions. It's not that the team who has the most wins. Yeah, okay.
It's more... The more people on your team, the less people you've got to possibly convert to your team. So it becomes a little bit harder.
Yeah.
The more people there are on your team, sort of thing. So it almost evens out the fact that it becomes harder for the other team because they've got so few against so many, but they also get more people to attack.
All right. Well, let's figure out, because I love the idea of just marauding bands of clowns who have all popped out of a mini clown plane. What other aspects of Battle Royale are we bringing over? Is there a circle, and in Clown World, what does that look like?
Well, I think...
Is it a big,
it's a big top.
Ring? It's a big top, yes. Yes, you have to be inside the big top at all times. Right, nice. Yep, okay, so that's shrinking down. You've got drops from trapeze artists fly over and dropping new weapons and stuff. What sort of an environment are we talking here? Is this some sort of clown-based wasteland that you're fighting across?
Yeah, I think what's happened is this group is trying to figure out who the best clown recruiters are. So
okay,
because it's all about this clown college. And
right,
this game's gotten kind of deadly.
Gotten out of hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now it's all about how many conversions you can make over to the side that you're on.
Okay, and so by basically getting them with one of your clown tricks, they're like, oh, okay, I'll join you.
Yeah.
So it's like, you got me with the pie. I guess I'm on your team now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other good slapstick sort of thing. Can you just whack someone with a fish? Can you, do you have the big ladder that you're swinging around and people are ducking under? How do you...
I think that's a sort of combo move that you and your team can actually use to sort of like get a multiplier up to basically get, you know, an attack stronger to basically knock down their morale sort of thing. So if you can, in the view of someone, you know, duck under 3 ladders and then cream pie someone in the face.
Okay, so there's a performative aspect here too.
Yeah.
What if they just throw pies at you while it's happening? Does that add or take away from your performance?
Depends. Are you dodging?
You have to catch it in your face.
If you're dodging, then fuck yeah, you're going to get performance bonuses. But if you get hit by it all, then it's going to take away from your performance bonus.
I almost feel like you want the pie to hit you because that's funnier. So they throw a pie and you're like, oh, I need to make sure that hits me smack bang in the face.
So you're sort of like trying to duck down into it.
Yeah. I guess why would they throw it then if it's going to help you? But
yeah. They wouldn't be.
All right. I mostly like that just for the fucking clowns pouring out of a car in the beginning. Let's do one more.
Yes, I was going to say one more.
Moth.
Dialogue.
Okay. I don't really think of dialogue when you think of a moth. Okay. I'm picturing a kind of a narrative sort of, a real simple narrative sort of game where you're 2 moths discussing life.
How about a moth and a butterfly?
Sure. Okay.
I know.
I was picturing them like heading towards like a light.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, moth does kind of work, but 2 different species of moth.
Yeah, sure. Well, yeah, they can be 2 different species. It's just like 2 moths run into each other on a dark night and get to talking as they flutter along towards a light.
Or
around a light.
I think there could be a few different lights that they're sort of heading towards. Like the first light that they're going towards turns out to be like one of those big blues.
It's a road trip story?
Yeah. Kind of like a
road trip.
Kind of like a road trip story of these 2 moths just looking for a light to...
Going from light to light.
Going from light to light.
Right one.
And trying to find one that isn't going to kill them. Because, you know, the big blue lamp turns out to be like one of those big...
Well, I love the idea
zappers.
that it's like... They're trying to find the moon, right? Like, or whatever it is. Like, I'm not exactly sure why moths go towards the light. There's something to do with the moon. And so they're just like... Oh, this one's got to be the moon. Let's check it out. You want to come along? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Fuck, that one wasn't the moon either.
Oh, there's like a big moth graveyard here. Let's not
exactly. I'm sure this one's the moon. Oh, shit. Okay, that guy thought it was the moon and it wasn't, so let's move on.
I don't like the look of Terry the Tarantula. What are you talking about?
So yeah, I think it's kind of like a bit of an introspective kind of build up the character of these moths as they go along in I'm picturing a very simple, like, graphical style of, you've just got these 2 moths on the screen and it's a kind of very dialogue based, and you've got these different lights that are just slowly, as you go along, like, getting closer. And then as you get to them, maybe you get a little scene.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that the discussion is more about the discussion along the way and the stuff that you're finding out about, you know, things that are happening. It's almost, if you think about that really, really annoying section in Space Quest 1 where they're like heading along and they're gradually getting somewhere, except instead of an arcade sequence that I suck at, it's just dialogue.
Yeah, I think you can move around the screen in that sort of way, but it doesn't really do much.
Yeah.
It's mostly choosing dialogue options and
maybe getting some power-ups along the way that you know, give you some food or whatever.
Sure, I guess there can kind of be an underlying just arcade-ish sort of thing, but again, like, you can't die. Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's kind of something to do with your hands while you're just, like, listening or reading this dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm kind of picturing, like, a Kentucky Route Zero vibe in a way, of that real sort of...
Oh, yeah.
Kind of chill just like slightly quirky conversation. And yeah, I think, or almost a bit of a, like, I think it almost plays out like a Kevin Smith movie, right? Like just the dialogue, the banter back and forth between these characters. And you know, people play it just because the writing's so good.
Yeah. Ooh. And then, you know, you sort of get right to the end of the game and they're just, I'm picturing that they're sort of chilling at the light. And then, you know, the cloud sort of parts and you see like the moon up in the sky. And then it bursts apart. It's like this big celestial monster just comes out of the fucking moon.
Yeah. And just crushes them. It just eats the ants. Love it. All right. Let's finish it on that.
I had to bring it back. When you said moon before, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Good call back. All right. We're gonna finish it up there. If you want to find us online, go to podchaser.com/bitstorm. Leave us a rating or review. We'd love to hear what you thought of this episode. This episode specifically, or the show as a whole. Check out our guest appearances on there. Go through our creator profiles. There's tons of stuff. We are also part of the 8-Bit Collective, and this is a group of podcasters. A lot of gaming stuff, some pop culture stuff. Go to 8bit.net. Check them out. There's some great stuff there.
Mm. We'd also like it if you could check out the AGP and the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network. Just search for @AGP Network on Twitter or the Australasian Gaming Podcast Network on Facebook. Finally, we'd like to thank Kuridas for the use of the song Mount Defiance off of the album Containment Failure.
Yeah, that's right. So, thank you again for joining us. I'm Ben Slinger.
I'm Trevor Scott.
And I'm Terry the Tarantula.